So, I want to walk you through the process of what we install and how we basically create our Creator OS system. I'm walking through an example of what I use personally within my own business, but then we can customize it to you and your business as such. So, I personally like to think of content in terms of what are my thoughts and then how do I, create social content, how do I create video content, how do I create email content all within the same database, right? So I'm going to walk you through like A to Z on an example of how I use this and I created the system for it. Now, you're going to go ahead and drop your content that you see here. Think of this as your raw, unfiltered thoughts. This is an example of something that I created myself, but I want to fine tune it. And then we're going to create a little bit of a label copy. This is going to make sense in just a second. But basically, it takes this content and creates a little bit of a kind of a title that I can use for a short video. And then for me, I always like to link my content to an actual product of mine because content should not only just, be content for content's sakes, but we want to actually link and offer to it. So let's just say, we're going to go back behind it just as an example. And then I'm going to go ahead and all these other things are optional, but I think we're pretty much good because we're going to be doing this. Then I'm going to take it to the next step, which is social content review. So we go into social content review, and then basically we take that idea and we're going to create a voice script, right? Because we want to take this content and create a video for this. And so we're going to create the voice script for the video itself. And so while that goes ahead and generates, we're also going to create the social content that we see here. I kind of have two content pieces because this is what works for me, but I have like a show and tell, type thing content, and then we have like our regular social content. So it really depends on the topic that I'm creating. But basically, we basically took this content piece and I leveraged AI to take that content piece and create a voice script. And so we're using this voice script in the actual content video that we're going to be showing and creating in just a second. And so I also took that raw content and I created social content as you see here. And so it actually like reworded it, redid it, created a better hook, created a better, all the metrics that I use in order to say like, hey, this is really great content. What are the criteria and stuff like that? It's all built into here to take my raw ideas. Let's just say your raw ideas are messy, things like that. This creates social content from those raw ideas. Then we're going to go ahead and create our B-roll description. Basically, we're going to look at the social content and say, hey, I need you to, identify potentially some good scenes that would go well with this social content. And so we're just going to go ahead and let that generate. It takes about a couple seconds, maybe a minute or two, but it shouldn't take you that long. All right, so we're going to go ahead and see that it found some scenes of a good example. Now we're going to go ahead and have B-roll. And basically, what I like about this system that I created is that it looks within the B-roll description and your social content, and it finds top matches of B-roll that can go well with this, right? And so all I have to do is just click a couple of items. We're going to just go ahead and select some random items, top matches that we see here. We're going to do 6. 1, 2, 3. I want to change it a little bit. Okay, so we have 6 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Awesome. So now we're going to go ahead and change the status to create B-roll. And then it's going to go into this section right here. And then basically when it goes into this view right here, I have an automation on the back end that takes all the content that we created, leverages the voice script, leverages the B-roll, merges it all together so that I can actually create a video. So it takes about a couple minutes for it to generate, but I want you to think from the perspective of how much time you're saving, from the sense of I don't need to find the B-roll that works for this. I don't need to do voice scripts over and over, because with the video that I'm going to show you in a second, it actually takes the voice script and I created an AI voice clone of my own voice, and it will actually read the voice script from that point on. And so it'll do subtitle, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pause because it takes a couple of minutes, but I'll see you in a second. All right, so it looks like there is nothing in the record in this view anymore because it moved on to the second portion of this. And I just want to show you an example of what it created. So we're going to go ahead and before we create the email, I actually just wanted to show you the video, which we will have right here. There we go. Cool. And so hopefully this picks up the audio, but if not, no worries. Feel free to ask and I can send it your way. But this is an example of essentially what we created, where this B-roll was all generated together, and I'm actually having my AI voice clone read this and do it for me. And so if you can actually see from the perspective of like it took me like less than 5 minutes to create this video reroll because the moment that I tagged it to the B-roll status, it 28 seconds ago updated it with the final video and gave me all that information. So now we're going to go ahead and create the email content. So what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and click this button to do email content. And then when that's pretty much generated, we're going to go ahead and click another button. Does the medium title, subtitle for an email or for a blog post. And then we're going to go ahead and do this. So you can see this. This is kind of a longer version of a social post because it would be an email, but it's really adapted for email where we have like the sign off, the signature, and everything like that. And then we're going to go ahead and generate the title. This could be like kind of also, I like to interchange this between this can be the title of a blog or this can be like the A. When you're doing an A/B test of an email, this could be the A and then you can have a B. So yeah, let's kind of go ahead and do that. Yeah. So we have these two items that we can do and pretty much this is good to go. And so you can feel free to review it as you see such, but I'm just walking through it. So the moment I switch it to done, it's going to go ahead and already looks like it already did for me. So it's going to go ahead and go into the transfer status. Now, what does that exactly mean? That means I essentially took that video and the video that I created and I put it into my distribution channels. So it automatically went into, because we scheduled on the 19th, it actually, since we're, doing a previous date as an example, but in this case, it would have worked where essentially it would actually just go into my distribution scheduler. So it actually distributes and shares it across multiple platforms. So think YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Reels, TikTok, all that stuff. And then it also created it in my blog distribution or my email distribution channel where you can see I have it here as well. And so that's pretty much it. But if you think about this, we have, almost like 7 minutes or something like that to create all this content where we took an unfiltered idea and we created the social content, we created the email content, we created an actual video all through this one database that we created, also known as our creator operating system. So hope this helps and I hope that provides more insights and I hope to work with you soon. Bye.